So the Hurricanes of Miami are going to play the Bears of Cal or California, however you want to say it, right? So what we'll do today is I'll go over each team, talk about their stat leaders, talk about their schedule a little bit, and then we'll talk about my prediction, what I believe is going to happen. I'm not a gambling man, so please don't take my numbers and just run to the nearest bookie. Like, don't do that. I'm not a gambling man myself, so I wouldn't put you in that predicament. But I can tell you, my prediction is going to be near perfect. All right, there it is. It's near perfect. I can already feel it. I can already feel it. Okay, so let's talk about the Cal Bears. They are 3-1 right now. They have not had the toughest schedule. Let's just be honest. Neither team has. Cal and Miami, neither one has had a tough schedule. But let's go through Cal's schedule real quick. They beat UC Davis 31-13. Then they went and beat Auburn 21-14, which looked like a really good win until Auburn put on more game tape, more film. Like Auburn is a wreck right now. But anyway, when you look at a W next to Auburn at Jordan Hare Stadium, it just looks really good on paper, right? So let's just let them have that. Let's give them a golf clap for beating Auburn at Auburn. It looks good on paper, even when they are a dumpster fire like they are right now. Okay, then they went and beat San Diego State, which I just finished watching that game because I just wanted to see a little bit more of Cal. I saw them play the Auburn game and the San Diego State game, so I wanted to watch that. And they beat San Diego State 31-10. San Diego State looked like they didn't belong on the same field. They just looked like the coaching, the players, the line of scrimmage. It just looked 100% on Cal's side. It just did from the jump. And then they went. I almost said they went and beat Florida State, but they went to Florida State and lost. Yeah, that Florida State. The only win that Florida State has this year is against Cal. And the surprising thing is that Cal only scored 9 points. Florida State put up 14, and Cal couldn't put up more than 3 field goals, which was shocking. Even at Doak Campbell Stadium, that's still shocking. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. Talk about the Hurricanes real quick. Hurricanes hasn't played a crazy tough schedule either. They are 5-0. Played against Florida at the Swamp, which was supposed to be a pretty big deal. Supposed to be a pretty huge challenge, but the Hurricanes jumped all over them, 41-17. Then they went on to play FAMU. I don't even want to talk about that too much. It was 56-9. Then Ball State. I expected that game to be a contest in the first half, just because I had done maybe too much research on Ball State, and they started making them sound like a threat. But the Hurricanes won 62-0. And then USF. Playing USF, I thought that was going to be a really close game because I watched USF play against Alabama, and that game looked tight. It was tight. I think it was 14-13 in the fourth quarter, if I'm correct. So USF looked like a formidable opponent, but ended up being 50-15. Hurricanes took care of them real quick. Now, the most recent game that everybody was talking about, Virginia Tech. I believed that this was going to be a close game. Why? Because I don't look at teams from a perspective of what their record is. I look at teams based on how much talent they have on their roster. I don't even consider the morale around the team. I just look at nothing but talent. So Florida State, most people think Florida State sucks. I don't think that because I know what kind of talent they have on their team. When it comes to Virginia Tech, I was fully aware of how many how many starters they returned this year compared to last year. I'm like, they got all that experience. They got some pretty good talent on the field. They're going to be good. Even though their record doesn't scream world beaters, I knew they were going to be pretty good and ended up being a crazy game, right? So now let's talk about each team's stat leaders. California, Golden Bears. So they have Fernando Mendoza as their starting quarterback. Rumor has it, I don't know if I'd say rumor has it, but it's been put into the atmosphere that Fernando Mendoza was really clear about wanting to be a Miami Hurricane when he started playing football, coming out of high school. And the Hurricanes didn't recruit him. They wanted other players, and he's kind of feeling a little bit miffed, I guess is a good word. When's the last time you used the word miffed? Well, apparently he's a little miffed about it, a little upset about it. So we'll see how he prepares. It's going to do one or two things. One, he's going to either over prepare, play real tight, and just kill his team, or he's going to prepare and be so laser focused that he's going to play on, as we say, Heisman mode. He's going to take himself to a whole nother level where we like, you didn't look like that against San Diego State. Like, how you doing that now? It's going to be one of two things, right? One or the other. Okay, so let's talk about what Fernando Mendoza has done so far. He's 83 of 123. He's thrown for 892 yards, which isn't great. It's not bad, though. He's thrown 5 touchdowns and 2 interceptions across those games they've played, 4 games. That's also not terrible, not great either. It's just kind of a pedestrian number. Now let's talk about their running backs. Their best running back is Jaden Ott, but he's been injured like crazy. So they've been giving the ball to Javian Thomas. He has 267 yards right now. He's averaging 7 yards a carry, which is really impressive. He's got a touchdown. Jaden Ott has 2 touchdowns. Ott has been injured, but I was told or I read that he should be a full go against the Hurricanes. I don't really want to talk about the defensive side of the ball. So as far as receiving goes, they don't have any receivers that have crazy numbers. Their leading receiver, though, is Nizea, or I don't know how to pronounce it, so I apologize if I'm tearing his name up. Nizea Hunter with 182 yards on the season, which is not a whole lot. When you think that some players, they get over 100 yards in one game, so to have 182 yards over 4 games as their leading receiver doesn't say a whole lot. They do spread the ball out because they've got, 10, they got like 13, 14 players on here that has a catch this season. So they obviously rotate them like crazy, and then they do throw the ball to the running backs out of the backfield. So that is the Cal Bears stat leaders. Let's talk about Cam Ward and the Hurricanes. So just compare. Fernando Mendoza has 892 yards on the season. Cam Ward has 1,782. The Hurricanes do have an extra game because they've played 5 games and then Cal has only played 4. So I want to make sure I put that point out there as well. And then as far as running backs go, Damian Martinez is the leading rusher for the Hurricanes. He has 250 yards so far, which has been I got to be honest with y'all, it's been a big disappointment to me. I think he should have had, it just seems like his production is not where we expected it to be. Let's just say that. Then receiving yards, Xavier Restrepo, one of my favorite Hurricanes of all time. He has 422 yards receiving. And just for comparison again, the Golden Bears, their leading receiver has 182. So that's just give you some stat leaders on their teams. Now let's talk about one thing that I think is just crazy before I get into my prediction, before I give y'all the exact score that's going to happen. So the crazy thing about this whole football game is that how is Cal in the same conference as Miami Hurricanes? This conference stuff is getting kind of crazy. Not kind of crazy. It's getting nuts. I typed into Google earlier today directions, like if I was going to be driving, directions from Coral Gables, Florida, up to Berkeley, California. And the amount of time is 44 hours driving, 3,035.9 miles. And they're in the same conference somehow. I don't know how this makes sense, man, but I don't see this lasting for very long. Something's going to happen. Maybe the Pac-12 get back where it's supposed to be and they get back into that, but I cannot imagine Cal being in this conference for very long. It just doesn't seem realistic to me. All right, here's a prediction. I'm telling you right now, I'm looking into the future. I'm telling you what the score is going to be. All right, so let me think. Okay, I got it. The score is going to be 38-20. The Miami Hurricanes. I do think this game is going to be over, close to over by halftime. I know this is a college game day game. I know all their fans going to be crazy. I get all that. But I believe the Hurricanes had this big scare last week. I believe Cal is going to be, they're going to jump out, like they know they lost their last game against Florida State. So they got a little bit of doubt. So they're going to jump out there, trying to make some huge plays in the beginning. Once those huge plays don't work, I think they're going to be like, man, maybe we are the team that lost to Florida State. And they will just drop and be done the rest of the game. I think by halftime the score is going to be a 21 to 24 point game. it'll be 24-0 or 27-3, something like that. And then I believe the second half is just going to be a snooze fest. I think it's going to be a bunch of run the ball here, run the ball there, run the clock out. And before the end of the game, by the end of the game, it'll be 38-20. That's what I think is going to happen. That's what I'm predicting is going to happen. That's what is going to happen. All right, so let me know your comments on this. Do you think that score is crazy? Do you think it sounds about right? It is a real late game. It seems like the odds are stacked against the Hurricanes because they got to do all this traveling. They've got to play they start the game on Saturday, and by the time the game ends, it will be Sunday in Miami time, which is crazy, but it is what it is. I think they'll come out there and perform extremely well. I don't think Cal will have anything for the Hurricanes from the very beginning. So that's all I got for you today. I appreciate you watching the video. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I truly appreciate that. So take care. God bless and peace.